Welcome! This is Chapter 2 of the Appalachian Mountain Club's snowmobile training video series. Snowmobiling can be an efficient and enjoyable way to travel in winter conditions, but it also comes with serious risk if proper protocols aren't followed. This video will cover what happens if you get stuck, proper use of the winch, troubleshooting the winch, and the worn recovery kit. Whether you're new to snowmobiling or need a refresher, following these protocols helps ensure the safety of yourself and others. Come on, let's get started. Let's start by talking about what happens when you get your sled stuck in the powder. Take it away, Steve.
Stuck? Like say you got the sled stuck and you're trying to crawl out of a hole, put it in one. Because two, you're just going to keep digging a hole. Like how these things get stuck 9 times out of 10, the track has dug itself a big hole and the snowmobile is actually resting on the running boards. Put the sled in neutral, come with your shovel, dig out underneath the running board, get on the sled and rock back and forth like this, and you'll feel the snowmobile settle down. The other thing you do after you dig it out is sometimes I'll like pack out a path in front of the sled with my feet, and then you put it in one and you can climb right out. A lot of times you don't even have to winch.
Let's talk about the winch.
If there's one piece of advice I can give you, it's get off the sled, take a breath, see if you're okay, and then until you get the sled unstuck, just go about everything slowly and methodically. Because it's when people panic, that's when they lose stuff, that's when they get hurt, that's when they don't think clearly about the sequence of events. So just take a minute, make sure you're okay, and then proceed. And like think through things that are gonna make your life easier. Here's where the winch is stored when it's not in use. This is a self-contained unit. This should not live outside in the elements. This is like a really super sensitive piece of electronics that is the only thing you will have to get 900 pounds of snowmobile unstuck. You cannot move this sled by hand. So this needs to come inside at night and stay dry. You can have it out during the day. Like if you've got the sled in the back of a truck, don't let road salt get on this. Put it in the pickup. Take care of this. They're super expensive and at the end of the day, you just need them to work.
First, prepare the front or back hitch.
So you pull this hitch pin, and if you notice, there should be 3 hitch pins on the sled at all times to help you from not losing this. They can freeze solid, which is always fun. This gets full of ice and the sled is stuck. You dig all the snow out from here, that's stuck in there. What you do is you take that piece of birch bark, you roll it up like a cigar, like a little stick. You light the end of the birch bark upside down so it gets a good flame, tip it upright, and it'll melt the ice out of that pin. So you can then pull the spring, cam it over. So having a little piece of birch bark can save your butt. You want to hang on to this rubber piece because that keeps snow from filling the receiver, which will make your life easier. So this sled, same thing here, right? That'll freeze in, so you can use the old birch bark trick if you have to. Slide this into the receiver. This can go in the front or the back. This is the power wire. So you're gonna hook that up first. This little cover, you want to make sure you keep that cover too, because that keeps the junk out of the connector when you're driving around. This is the bridge on the top, and there's a bridge on the top of the winch. Slide one bridge, should only be one bridge on the top at a time. Now you're wired in. The only trouble with this is, this wire is now like right in the middle of everything. Nothing sucks worse than being in the middle of pulling yourself out, and because you've left the wire dangling on the ground, it hooks on a stump and pulls off in the middle of the winch, and then you're still stuck there. Or you tear the wire so badly, the winch won't work, and then you're really stuck. So like one thing I like to do is put it up here, and then you can kind of like take a bungee cord, and you hook a bungee cord on this loop and go back here, and that'll keep the wire up off the ground. Is be very careful when you shut this seat, because it's going to clamp on that wire. You don't want to break the wire. So you can't have anybody sitting on the rear, nor should you sit on the back of the seat while you're doing this. Next phase of using the winch is connecting the control arm. So the controller goes into this port right here. So you pull this cover off, and then this only goes on one way. So you see there's a key in the bottom, there's a little ridge. That ridge lines up with a slot on the bottom of this controller. Goes right on, boom. So release the winch, turn it towards the nondescript human, and now you can pull the winch out, pull the cable out. Do not want to hook back to the cable. You want to hook to a strap.
Wrap a tree using a tow strap. From there, you can fix the winch cable hook to a D-ring or shackle that is secured to the strap. Once the hook is secured, you can begin to use the winch to pull your snowmobile out of trouble. Now let's bring the cable in.
This is called the fair lead of the winch, and there's top rollers and bottom rollers and side rollers. And what that does is it allows wire to feed in without getting fetched up. Just give these a spin. Make sure that they're all free. And if they're not free, that means water got in behind them and froze them solid. That's where that birch bark trick that I said can help thaw that out. Engage the winch, so towards the winch side, away from the nondescript human. And then you get back on the sled, start the sled. So you've got out and in. This winch will power cable out. It also will suck cable in. You may need to give it some throttle to pull yourself out. Hit the in button. Because I'm in neutral, it'll pull the sled. Once you've gotten yourself free, there'll be a lot of tension on that cable. You may have over a ton worth of pressure on that little cable. So power out the winch so that you've got some slacks. You're not dealing with a live cable.
Now you can run the winch on battery, but
do not do that.
Do not do that.
Because you will drain the battery and you may not be able to start the sled again. Start the sled again.
When bringing the cable in, make sure there's tension on the line and move it back and forth so there's an even spool on the drum. But what if your cable comes off?
Because people will panic and pull all of the cable off the drum and then you're equally screwed. This winch will only work if you've got 3 to 4 turns of cable on the drum. It will not hold. The cable will not hold. You have to have a minimum of 4 complete wraps of the cable. All that's holding that cable in there is a tiny, tiny little wedge. How that works is you literally take a bite of the cable like this, the wedge goes in the top of the bite, and then you pull it down in that slotted hole, and that wedge wedges the cable in there.
Where can I safely pull the sled?
On the whole front of the sled, other than the front receiver hitch, the only other place that you can tow this snowmobile from is off of the pogo sticks. You can wrap straps around both of the pogo sticks, and they're solid enough to be able to tow the machine.
Let's go through the worn recovery kit.
So if you get your worn recovery kit, even in here I have birch bark. I'm telling you, man, more times I've had to thaw stuff out with birch bark. I've just got a junk strap for quick tows, 2 6-foot eye-to-eye loops. Have a couple different size screw pin shackles and some kind of shiv or pulley.
What if I just need more pull?
Obviously it's a single pull winch this way, but if you have one of these bad Larrys, you can do the ultimate. Because sometimes, if you have to winch yourself uphill, that single pull winch, yeah, it's a 2,500 pound winch, but sometimes you need extra. So what you do in that scenario, take your straps, hook one around the tree, so that one's around the tree, and then this one to give yourself a hitch point back to, because you have to have somewhere to run this to. So this goes out, this is hooked off to the tree with a screw pin shackle. So what you would do is you'd run that out to the tree, screw pin shackle, this goes through here. Probably put both eyes through the screw pin shackle. And then to have your attachment point for this winch so that you can double back, hook it around the ski posts. So you hook this third strap down on the ski post like this, and then you have your other screw pin shackle that connects this, and then you connect this to that screw pin shackle. And then you've got a double pull. And all of this can be replicated on the backside. So it'll work either way. It's just much easier usually to get the sled to go out with the direction of travel.
If you need to pull the sled from the back, you can use the skid track as your anchor. That concludes Chapter 2 of the AMC snowmobile training video. Thank you for watching.